Amusement park scene gets a facelift in the new film Hellfest. We're rolling film right now. Hey guys, what's up? It's Russell here at Howell's Hollywood Reviews. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button in the corner, that little bell notification icon, so you guys don't miss anything. You guys will get notified anytime I drop a new movie review, a trailer review, anything new. You guys will get notified, so go ahead and do that. Also, stick around for after the video to like and comment. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hellfest. Hellfest is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 29 minutes. It stars Bex Taylor-Klaus, Rain Edwards, Amy Forsyth, and Tony Todd, and is directed by Gregory Plotkin, who you might recognize from a film called Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. With Halloween vastly approaching, it's nice that we get some kind of horror movies in the back slate of September, early October, to kind of get ourselves into the scary movie-going experience. So, Hellfest is a little bit different. It focuses on an amusement park where a killer is run rampant. So, pretty much at the beginning of the film, we see Hellfest, and Hellfest is this awesome horror-themed type festival park that tours around the area every Halloween. And a young woman from Orange County seems to have been separated from her friends, and pretty much she's confronted by a man in a mask. And she recognizes that this is the same person that has been pretty much stalking her friends the whole entire night. And she ends up saying something about that. Well, he stabs her and ends up hanging her in the room, and she looks like a prop pretty much. So fast forward a couple years later, we're in present time now, and we meet a group of friends. Natalie, played by Amy Forsyth, Brooke, played by Rain Edwards, and Taylor, played by Bex Taylor-Klaus, who you guys might recognize from the MTV show Scream. We see that Gavin is a kid that Natalie and they have a mutual crush on one another. He gets the group a VIP passes to pretty much get into the park because it is pretty much the hot ticket to go to Hellfest. Well, anyway, everybody else goes along with Brooke and Taylor's boyfriends, and they get the VIP passes, like I said, from Gavin, and that pretty much just entitles them to skip lines so they don't have to wait in these big lines. So we see the man known simply as the Other. He comes into the amusement park. We see his steel-toed boots, so this is something that we obviously have to keep our eyes on throughout the whole entire film, kind of shades of Scream with the boots. And we see him just walk through the amusement park and then put on a mask, so he obviously has hidden the mask before he walks in. And so we see a girl bumps into him as he has the mask on. When he's just putting a mask on. She pretty much kind of makes fun of him, saying, hey, you're not really scary, blah, 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 you know, pretty much being, because he's pretty much lame. So the guy ends up kind of targeting her, and we see that he ends up grabbing a ice pick from a snow cone stand while the snow cone stand worker isn't looking. Surprise, surprise. Well, anyway, the group of girls end up going to, I believe it's like a haunted maze or whatever, and they get separated. So the guys and the girls are pretty much separated. We see the girls end up coming in confrontation with this girl, and they all think it's part of the show. Which, again, in itself is kind of scary because you're watching it and you're thinking, well, yeah, this could just really just be part of the whole Fright Fest, Hellfest type thing. So, yeah. Well, anyway, the killer ends up absolutely stabs her and pretty much ends up killing her. Well, he has his eyes kind of set on Natalie's character, Amy Forsyth's character, so he is pretty much stalking these guys the whole entire time. There are scenes where Natalie and Gavin are together and they are taking their picture in a photo booth, and he just comes up there and ends up taking the pictures out of the photo booth while they're in there. The one girl, Brooke, ends up catching him, well, trying to catch him. She's yelling at him, hey, give the pictures back. And she ends up losing him and not being able to find him. So this guy pretty much has bad news written on him from the start. And we just kind of see that during this whole entire movie unfold, he kind of stalks these girls in different ways. Overall, the movie was a fun film. It was different. I know it's getting a lot of bad reviews. I didn't go in thinking that this film was going to be the end-all, be-all horror movie like The Exorcist or Halloween 1978. It's a fun film. It's a fun popcorn film that you can go and enjoy, especially the Halloween season. It's something that I may revisit every Halloween just because it's a fun film. I just enjoyed the fact that the amusement park setting. We really haven't had scary movies that really dealt with the amusement park as the whole entire basis of the movie, which was kind of fresh. Because we see a lot of slasher films. It's pretty much they're stalking them in a house. They're doing this and that, and we take that element out and we add a crazy pretty much a crazy amusement park in the mix. And on top of it, it's during, Halloween. So this all makes sense, and that's the scariest part about it, is that somebody could actually do this and get away with it. So that's even the more creepy part about it. So that's why, to me, this film kind of just it was scary in that aspect, just because of the uncertainty of you going to something like this, and something like this could probably happen, or maybe happen, God forbid. But overall, I did enjoy the film. I gave the movie 2.5 out of 5 stars. It was a far from perfect movie, but I did enjoy the slasher film that it was. The guy, the other, wasn't probably the greatest antagonist in the whole entire horror franchise, but it worked for the film. It was simple enough that it worked. It was menacing enough because his presence alone just inflicted danger upon the girls and upon anybody else he came in contact with. Without going into too much detail, that's pretty much the gist of the film. We see this guy known as the Other. He is pretty much chasing these group of friends the whole entire time. He pretty much is targeting Natalie, played by Amy Forsyth, and that is pretty much the whole entire film. As it unravels, we start to see friends getting picked off one by one, and then we start to kind of try to put pieces together of why this guy is doing it, who this guy is. And that's the fun part about this film. Like I said, this movie is far from perfect, but it works in what it's trying to do. It was nice seeing Tony Todd in this film. He kind of plays the VJ type character, with the announcer, that you can kind of hear his voice on the loudspeakers talking. You may recognize Tony Todd from Candyman, the Final Destination films. He's a really good actor who always appears in these different horror type franchises, or horror movies in general. So he's always a good actor, and it's always good to see some old actors from like cult classics and stuff like that sprinkle their way into these new modern films. But overall, like I said, if you're in the mood for one of those popcorn flicks, let's have a good time during Halloween season and just kick it in neutral and just kind of just coast throughout the movie. This movie's all right. It's far from perfect. It has holes in the whole entire plot and all these other little aspects of the film. Far from perfect dialogue, but overall, it's a fun film, and that is what we're out for. We're out to be entertained. We're out to have fun, especially with the Halloween season. We get a lot of chintzy movies, like we had Slender Man, which was awful. The best film that probably came out this year that was a scary film was Hereditary, so if you guys haven't checked that one out, go check that one out. Recommend that as well for the Halloween viewing season. And I'm also looking forward to the remake, or the sequel, I should say, to 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, so overall, I absolutely recommend the film. Go check this one out. I want to know, have you guys seen Hellfest? Did you guys enjoy the film or not? Go ahead and sound off there in the comments. With Halloween season coming upon us, I want to know from you guys, what are your top 5 scary movies? Go ahead, sound off there in the comments. Next time in House Hollywood Reviews, when I bring you Tiffany Haddish and Kevin Hart's new movie, Night School. And until then, we'll see you guys in Hollywood.